welcome to this edition of EMS Now Up Close. I am Eric Miskell with EMS Now, and today I have the pleasure of speaking with Stephen Griffiths. He's the director within White Horse Laboratories. I had the pleasure of meeting with Stephen earlier this summer when I was in Munich. He took me out one evening and we got acquainted, and I was very impressed with Stephen's background in industry knowledge. I think he's a great asset for White Horse Labs. So, Stephen, it is good to see you again. I'm glad we get an opportunity to speak finally. And let's begin by just allowing you to introduce yourself, your background in the electronics manufacturing industry, and what your role is with White Horse Labs now.
Okay, so once again, my name is Stephen Griffiths. I've been around a while. I got into electronics many years ago, over 20 years ago, when I worked for Sharp Electronics in Hamburg. And they had quite a large division of devices and electronic components. And that was my first exposure. I then moved to Ingram Micro, which is worldwide. It used to be worldwide the #1 in distribution. I was their CFO. And my background was accounting, but luckily over the years I've been introduced to many other parts of the business and run them in different countries. So including sales and marketing, logistics and purchasing. So I regard myself a little bit as an all-rounder, as apart from being just an accountant, which is always in the background. More recently, I spent 15 years at two particular brokers, the second one 11 years until retirement. I think they call themselves independent hybrid distributors these days, and which means they have a few B franchise lines and hold some stock. So that's fair enough. It's a gradual progression. I live in Munich, Germany, have done for 27 years now, and joined White Horse. Have a long connection with White Horse, probably going back 16 years. I always get the years mixed up, but it a long time ago when I was working for the distributor. We had one particular patch of really bad product coming into the company. I think 2 or 3 lots from different suppliers in Huangshangbei, Shenzhen. And it just ruined our profit for the whole quarter. And we lost customers. We had to pay penalties. We had to resource at a lot higher cost. And we decided this was just a crazy way to run a company and take risk. And we decided, we actually looked for a company or someone to help us in the Shenzhen market. And through a contact, I came across Mark Rinehart, the CEO, founder of the company, White Horse. And back then he was, I like to tease him a little bit, like a man on a mission with a microscope. But, he steadily progressed and, through the years and built quite a solid operation, first of all. And then 3 or 4 years ago, after I'd retired and then joined White Horse, which he asked me to do, we realized we had a very solid base in Asia, and there are a lot of opportunities to expand into Europe and North America, which we've also done in the meantime, also Singapore. So, we're busy running around, coordinating, making sure that things work a little bit more smoothly between the different locations. It's always a challenge, but, that's what I've been doing most of my life. So I hope I've got quite a lot to play in that role. And I'm one of the managing partners and small shareholder. And we're coming along fine now. The allocation period the last couple of years has helped us a lot. Like a lot of companies, we did great business, and we had a lot of cash coming in, which we've used partly very wisely to fund the expansion. And now it's a matter of making it more efficient, making it gel, and that's what we're spending on our time at the moment. So that's
Good.
about me done on that one.
Wow, thank you. There's a lot there, so let's unpack different elements of it. First, I wanted to go back, and from what I recall is your experience, your previous experience before Whitehorse too. You also worked a lot in Asia and opened facilities there. So your familiarity with the markets over there also is quite intimate in the sense that you were on the ground doing business, correct?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I spent quite a lot of time in Korea prior to the company where I worked finally before Whitehorse, and so I wasn't a stranger to Asia, and but certainly then for the independent distributor, where I was finally then I spent probably a third of my whole time in Asia, sort of flying backwards and forwards, very much like the CEO of Whitehorse now does, with a different location. Tiring but very worthwhile. At one point I had around 50 people working for me in Asia in 4 different locations, in the usual that you would expect probably, Hong Kong, Shenzhen, Shanghai and Suzhou. And we did purchasing for the group, and otherwise own sales mostly to foreign companies that had factories or fabs in Asia.
Okay, very good. And you made reference to something there that I did want to pursue with you is, Whitehorse's roots, as you call it, within Shenzhen, really kind of testing parts, the man with a microscope and a mission. I love that. But, and that's really been the popular perception of Whitehorse Labs that, since I've been dealing with them, is that, oh, they help with the counterfeit detection. But Whitehorse has really grown beyond that and does quite a bit more. Why don't you speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, images of companies, of people remain with them a long time after they're no longer true. And it's fair to say that we developed probably 5-6 years ago into a lot more than just the counterfeit protection and this side of the business. I mean, we have factory auditing, we have logistics service, we're into high level testing, like PCBAs, failure analysis. And I think people come to us first because of the counterfeit problem, or the substandard as we call it, because counterfeit is not the only problem as we know. Yeah, it's just that we haven't publicized them enough or pushed them enough, or we had enough to do just with the counterfeit protection, or whatever the reasons. I mean, that's past, and I think we've developed now. We just need to get the message out there and make sure that people are aware. I mean, we were always surprised that the factory audit division wasn't used more. Even big companies who maintain that they know the supplier, actually they haven't visited for 4 or 5 years. It could have changed hands twice in that time, and all sorts of things that sometimes happen in Asia. So there could be subcontracting out where there's no control over the source, and just many things. And we really need to get that up and moving to a higher level, because we have the people, and the service is very useful. It enables the guy back in Europe or North America to sleep better, basically, if he knows someone's been there and checked it out, really.
Right. And so before I ask about some of the specific new locations, let's talk more generally about the footprint. As you implied, over the last 18 months or so, Whitehorse has really expanded, and that's both into the United States. I think it's in Cleveland, Singapore, and also now Germany, where you reside. What was behind that expansion, and what was the initial kind of market reaction to you coming into those spaces?
Yeah, good question. I think we realized that, we're certainly asked a lot of times, by our customers. Most of our customers are either US or Canada based, or partly Mexico or European, and they either have facilities in Asia or in Asia and other parts of the world. They asked us, when are you coming to North America or Europe? And so I think that was what got us thinking some time back. And then we started to to rationalize and say, well, actually we're best at the counterfeit protection, and Shenzhen is quite a large unit in the meantime, but what will the business be? If we build a lab in Singapore or US and Germany, and we came up with our rationale was that a lot of companies buy product, bring it to their own country, and then something looks wrong, or they start to use it, and they realize there's some problem, and it's not what they thought they bought, and then it's actually too late, but it's never too late really. But it's always a problem to do a return to vendor in Asia. You're haggling in the best case for weeks often, and then probably getting a little bit of money back, and in the meantime the market's moved, and you end up paying more because it's not satisfactory, and the rest of it. So so that's one area. Secondly, a lot of companies in, and again, North America and Europe buy product thinking, in their own country, and thinking it's therefore good. But what they don't realize, it's probably been through two brokers in the meantime, one in China, one in their own country. And there's no traceability and no quality control. So, the danger is just as high, or almost as high, as it would be buying directly from the grey markets in Asia. So and then finally we realized, and to get into the more high-end testing, that would be failure analysis and PCBA testing and even custom analysis. There are a lot of opportunities using our knowledge base and the equipment we have. So why wouldn't we be in major markets? I mean, US and Canada, is a no-brainer, and there's a possibility we could move more into Mexico. Certainly we have customers there, but it's not on the agenda yet really, but we always keep our eyes open. In Asia, Singapore can cover, we guess, Malaysia, but they can certainly help out in India as long as we have no lab there. And Germany again was a no-brainer, not because I live here, but because the markets are probably about twice the size of the next biggest, which might be France, and after that Italy and UK. So it's best to be in first of all Germany for Europe, and then secondly at the hub of IT, which we guess is in Bavaria or South Germany anyway. So that was the rationale behind the location. So, and also the rollout of we're doing showcasing. In Germany, we've got some real high-end equipment, and we appreciate here the quality standards, zero defects and TCO and the usual names that are bandied around. We understand that, and we regard it as a healthy challenge, because we have the people, we have the know-how, and to deal with it. So that's our rationale for Germany in particular.
Yeah. And let's jump into a couple of them individually. Maybe we begin where you ended there in Germany. That's where you're at. I know that this was and it's a large, very extensive, you have the whole lab and everything there. Tell me about, and I'm sure the process wasn't as smooth as you had intended when it was originally charted out to put a lab there, but how was the experience? It's up and going now, right? So it's everything.
Yeah. We're just about there. Yeah, we've taken some orders, and that's gone pretty well. But like any plan, I mean, you first of all you make a plan, and then you make the decision to start and fund it, and then you get down to get to the country, and then then start having discussions with local authorities about dangerous materials, and even though the amounts are minute, but still, you get into these discussions, and then, then try to find a suitable space, because we have almost no unemployment in Munich, so we needs to be strategic for that reason, and stuff like that. And then, an immovable, I think US is the same. There's an acute, perceived acute lack of people willing to work, as anything, these days, and a lot of industries, are cursed with the lack of labor, and we I'd like to think we did it in quite a clever way. We actually employed people living in Germany who could speak either good German or good English, and very rarely both. They are actually, born in Italy or Croatia or somewhere else in Europe. In the meantime, we have one guy from Asia. So living here. So that's been a great market for us. These people are enthusiastic. They have a good work ethic, and it's a nice mix of nationalities. In a microcosmos of our laboratory. So we did a different track than just the standard advertisement, and we put some effort and a bit of creativity into it, and we feel we have a good team on board.
Now, are these also people with testing backgrounds or with industry experience, or how much training did you have to do?
Oh, we've done a lot of training. I mean, it's difficult to find anyone with a specifically testing background. There are not that many companies around doing it, and we have like everywhere else, I guess, quite a few brokers with some testing capacity these days, and so that might have been a market, but in Munich, actually not. So we got people with some technical ability, and we spent like 4 to 6 months on training alone in Germany, and we brought people across from Philippines, engineering team. We have people there's one guy from China now that's come across to teach them specifically, but they all have some, I think almost all have some degree and some background and some technical ability, some, defined however you would like to think about it. But, so we just built on that and said, well, the basic testing, can be learned in a few months. And we have a very good laboratory manager, a German guy, who's organizing all this. And, it's been a pleasure to do, just stand back a little bit and watch it all happening. But when you're a new kid on the block, you're new to a country, you always get some surprises. I would say probably Germany not yet, but because I live here for a long time and worked here. But in US, things are different, and work different, and Singapore too, for that matter. They always present themselves as very flexible, but then it's some little hurdles to get over, and but we regard it with a spirit of challenge, and that we through dialogue we managed to take those hurdles so far, nothing major. So and then coordinating the equipment deliveries was probably our major challenge because of the supply chain. Well, I don't need to go into that today, because you'd be talking for an hour at least, non-stop. But it affected, of course, the equipment manufacturers. So we were having 2 month lead times that suddenly became 6, and then you're nagging and trying to somehow persuade these guys to give you priority when we're a relatively small company, I suppose, in the scheme of things. So that's been a bit of probably the major challenge.
The other one I wanted to explore with you was India, right? India has been hyped as a really rapid growth market. What presence does White Horse Labs have there now, and what are your plans moving forward for that region?
Okay, I thought you may ask that because everyone's talking about India at the moment, and I haven't worked it out yet quite. Maybe it takes a couple of years. I don't know. It's I heard these the phrases that you do hear sometimes. It's like China 15 years ago. I don't think that's the case. I mean, they have some quite some parts of their industry is quite modern already. Mostly foreign investors have built something there, and it's running fine. We have a sales and engineering team already on the ground. Great small team, recruited locally, but with experience in all cases. We got 5 people there. They're doing a really good job just selling, basically, and we're doing the testing in Singapore or elsewhere in the group in the meantime. At the same time, we're evaluating, what we're going to do there in future, because it makes sense. I think we're in Bangalore. It makes sense to have a facility there where we can do some level of testing still to be defined, and then do the high end stuff maybe at the beginning in Singapore or even Germany. And so, you know, we haven't formulated the final plans, but there certainly will be something happening.
You know, and that's interesting. So what you're saying there too is that the entire network within White Horse Labs, a client wouldn't necessarily just work with, you know, with Singapore. They could potentially be leveraging competencies in these other centers as well.
Yes, I mean, within Europe, then, you know, we'll probably be leading the way in the group with you know, advanced decap processes, and you know, we have good equipment, yeah, really good, and so we're going to be pushing that. And so it could well be that you know, we do some testing for other parts of Whitehorse, and then send the you know, do the logistics within the group. So yeah, and you know, that's the difficult part, you know, to get the units to work together in a way that's not selfish, and which is for the good of the group. And you know, you always have different mentalities, and you know, different opinions, yeah. And yeah, and it's breaking that down, but without destroying anything, and then putting it back together again.
Right. No, that's very good. So as you alluded here a little bit before, you could speak about supply chain challenges for an hour, so we won't go there. But you undoubtedly see a lot though, right, from across the experience. So let me phrase the question this way. What trend or trends that you're seeing are the most disturbing to you?
Mm-hmm. I think the political trends, without a doubt. You know, then there's the as we know, there's the Taiwan situation, there's the US-China situation, and you know, it's kind of worrying because you know, politicians, I guess, can get kind of weird sometimes, and make crazy decisions, and it happens, and you know, you're left picking up the pieces, you know. So I think that's the thing that worries me anyway, most of all. You know, the things that came together to create the impasse, or the blockage in the system. I mean, it was like a perfect storm, you know, even including that ship that got stuck in the Suez Canal, and the fact that the containers were not available in Asia for a long time, and the prices, you know, 10 times this, you know, the previous year, and stuff like that. I mean, it just all happened at the same time. I think that the whole COVID situation had indirect, you know, influence on a lot of things in our lives. You know, also working practices, and you know, like we're doing now, video conference, and you know, not traveling so much, and only very gradually it's getting back to what we used to regard as normal. But it will never be the same. So you know, we've got a situation in front of us that you know, we doing a lot of second guessing at the moment, you know. And I'm sure if anyone's honest, then they will say, yeah, you know, we have an opinion, but we don't know how strong that opinion will turn into fact. And you know, that's right. Probably where we are now.
Yeah. So while you're on that, with the any sense of, I'm just starting to see the stories trickle out with what's going on obviously in Israel and Hamas. And Israel is a huge technology center as well, right? So any sense of the impact that may have?
I think it happens so suddenly that the whole scale of the impact is not even clear to the people living there. So you know, I mean, this could be a war, you know, going on for months, who knows, and or it could be over next week. You know, we just don't know. It's like the Ukraine thing that should last a week, but it's now, I don't know, 15 months or something. You know, so yeah, the only thing that's certain is that nothing's certain anymore. You know, it's you know, we try to be, you know, like smart, and you know, read our news and stuff like that, but you know, there's a lot of guessing going on at the moment. And yeah, you know, we've seen I noticed I've been in China recently twice, and you know, talking to people in the evenings and picking up, yeah, just, you know, how things are working, and as you do, and you know, there's a lot of rumors going around. I mean, based sometimes on small facts. I mean, I think one of the things I picked up a couple of times that memories, the manufacturers I'm sure they're not working together because it's not allowed, but they're sort of restricting capacity and then trying to get the price up, and then I've heard the MLCC rumor again for fourth quarter. I don't believe it, to be honest, but the stuff like this, it's more like hope rather than solid fact, and I think we're bottoming out from the previous. I mean, everyone's got inventory. It seems the whole world's awash with inventory, and that's a whole new ball game. Also for us, by the way, the stuff that with the number of inquiries we've had for sorting pallets of mixed product, for resale and stuff like that. It's amazing at the moment. So that is a fact, and that's a whole new ball game, I think, for the companies that are doing that and trying to realize some from cash from these pallets, but they actually don't know themselves really what they bought in. So it's all under cellophane on a pallet, and then please go ahead and tell us what's there and whether it's fit for use. So that's a pickup for us at the moment. Yeah,
the fit for use, and that's exactly it, isn't it? So what, in closing here, what advice would you offer to electronics manufacturers in this environment, if you were, with seeing what you're seeing, based on your experience in the industry? Is there anything that you would offer to advisors, and maybe short term, long term, whatever term it is for you? What advice might you offer?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, keep your stock down or inventory down, because the Chinese brokers I spoke to, and some big, some medium size, I mean, they're 70% down from last year, and they're starting to try and push out product through the door at really low margins. So sure, make a buy, if the price looks really attractive, but it's not going to go up anytime soon. So you can afford to, run down your inventory a little bit, and even do what a lot of other companies are doing, stuff that's been there for 18 months, and try and get something for it, outside and sell it, and just keep it. I mean, just in time, I think that died a death, through the last supply chain crisis, and the automotive companies have learned from that. They're having like a buffer stock now, or some different arrangements. But I mean, So anyone who makes a plan for next year and says this is it, then it's a brave man. So, luckily we're not. We sort of ride up and down with the waves. Like we have done always. But our highs and lows are nowhere near what we're experiencing with some of the brokers and some of the franchise distributors with some of the lines.
Okay. So, Stephen, people who are hearing this are interested to learn more about Whitehorse, maybe want to come see the labs. Tell us, how can people engage? Where can they come meet you? Are there at trade shows? I know Mark's been doing some trade shows.
Yeah.
How can people get in touch the best way?
Yeah, I mean, we're at IIOM next month, the obsolescence in London. We'll be around Productronica because it's in Munich, and otherwise just visit our website and talk to Mark Rinehart or myself, and we'll get you fixed up with whatever information you may need.
Yeah, and that's anywhere, any of your facilities around the globe too.
Yeah, I mean, we would obviously look at geography then. So who's asking the question, where is it, what they're looking for initially. So then we would make a recommendation about who they should talk to within the facility, and that would be the best way to do it.
Okay, excellent. Stephen, this has been excellent. I've been looking forward to having a conversation with you since we met earlier this year. So I'm glad to finally check that box. Hopefully we can do this again in the future, because it sounds like Whitehorse has some exciting activities going on. It'd be good to keep up with them.
Yeah, certainly. I've enjoyed it, and nice to see you again.
Take care. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.